I'm almost getting to the point where I'm tired of talking about the same thing over and over and over again. So we've got these Supreme Court nomination hearings for, I think her name is Ketanji Brown Jackson, who was selected to the Supreme Court primarily based upon her race and gender, because Biden promised that he'd nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. And now that she's being questioned and asked about her abilities, you see all the time news articles that pop up that accuse those who are questioning her of the two main reasons that she was nominated in the first place. They accuse people, if you're a man, of misogyny, and if you're a white man questioning her, they accuse you of racism and misogyny. Or if you're a white woman questioning her, then you're just racist. I had a really interesting conversation yesterday. I was at 7-Eleven just getting some coffee, and a guy just came up and started talking to me. He's like, have you been listening to NPR? Did you watch about the Jackson nomination that they asked about her letting some guy who had, I guess, child pornography, giving him a light sentence of 3 months when he should have gotten at least a couple of years? And it was great. It was one of those things that normally I would not engage in that conversation, but I'm really trying to live in the moment right now, and I'm trying to embrace that perhaps God has always been setting up and putting me in positions to just have conversations with people and hopefully promote the gospel. And so this guy was just talking about how he felt like, you know, someone that did this had all this child pornography. It was an 18-year-old apparently, could be reformed, and therefore there was no need to punish him. And my whole point on it was that, you know, a lot of times the reason that we have laws and punishments is not necessarily because we want to rehabilitate, but we want to keep negative behavior from recurring. Therefore, we want stiff enough penalties that if someone is engaged in this behavior or thinks about being engaged in this behavior, they think twice, because they realize, oh, the last person that did something like this had to register for the rest of their lives and got 2 years in jail. So what he was talking about was forgiveness and righteousness, and I kind of wove it back to the discussion that they were all having at this nomination in regards to whether or not this person is fit for the Supreme Court. Because it does matter. It does matter whether or not you believe that people should be held accountable for their crimes, or are you going to be someone who wants to look at all factors and excuse evil works, which will simply pervert justice and will allow more and more evil works to occur. And I understand that there's room for grace, but I also think that grace has to be that has to be an individual sort of thing. That's a thing. And I was telling the guy that I believe that Jesus can save even a pedophile. I do, because Christ died for all. He died for all sin. The holiness of God is such that your sin that you think is just, you know, I told a little white lie, or I just, you know, took a few pieces of candy or something like that, right? That lying and stealing to a holy and infinite and just God is tantamount to child molestation because of the holiness of God. He's so pure that not even a little bit of sin can get in there. And of course, it says in the scriptures that one who is guilty of one sin is guilty of all, because Christ died for all. Both of them need forgiveness, whether it's the thief and the liar, or someone who has done something just unthinkable as far as child porn goes. So we talked about that, and it's really important that we objectively look at this when we're trying to decide on a Supreme Court justice. But instead, the wagons have already been circled around her to smear anyone that questions her as racist or misogynistic. Second example is that Marsha Blackburn, senator, asked Brown, hey, can you define what a woman is? And guess what? She would not give a definition for what a woman is. Can a woman have children? Can women bear children? Can a man menstruate? Can a man get pregnant? These are questions that should be quite obvious what the answer is. And yet this Supreme Court nominee could not give an answer, which again is a clue into how she's going to rule on cases when she can't even clearly define what a woman is. And of course, as expected, right after that, articles come out and say, you know, people think that Blackburn was racist. Again, it's very interesting that they would put it in that way. People are thinking that Blackburn was racist rather than you saying it. So you're writing an article saying that she's racist, but trying to say it in such a way that other people are saying that she's racist. It's just quite interesting how things go. And, you know, I expect that she'll be confirmed to the Supreme Court. I don't think there's anything that the Republicans can do unless one of the Democrats just stands up and is willing to be called a racist for standing up and rejecting her nomination. Also, I guess, tangentially, we've got Tucker Carlson, who's constantly being called a racist for asking to see her LSAT scores, when all I know is that we've seen quite a few Supreme Court nominations, and they've been tough. They've been tough. Remember Christine Blasey Ford and that fiasco, bringing back stuff that may have happened when you were a teenager, and yet no one was there in defense of Kavanaugh. So it's just interesting to me. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're actually interested in this and if you're keeping up with this stuff. But it definitely is important to stay informed, and I'm just glad I had a good conversation with the guy and was able to tell him about the grace of God and also the holiness of God, and ultimately the spirit of the laws, and why we live in civil society. We basically give up our rights to do everything so that we can live outside of a state of constant war and terror, frankly. So anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. My name's Ollie Schwaga. This has been 10 Points to Ponder.